Major changes are unfolding inside the U.S. financial system. The government has just called for an independent review of the Federal Reserve, including its monetary policy. At the exact same moment, Ripple has applied for a banking license in the United States, and FedWire has migrated to ISO 20022. These three developments might seem unrelated on the surface, but when you connect them, a picture emerges of systemic change. If the central bank is being reviewed, banking licenses are being granted to blockchain companies, and settlement systems are moving to ISO standards, it means the financial foundation itself is being restructured. XRP is trading around $2.83 today, showing a slight recovery of about 0.75%. Bitcoin is near $111,000, Ethereum close to $4,300, while XLM trades around 35 cents and HBAR around 22 cents. Interestingly, these recoveries are happening on a Sunday. Over the last several months, Sundays have shown unusual inflows into crypto markets. Capital is being injected when banks and institutions are closed. This raises the question, where is this money coming from, and why is it entering at these moments? For many, this points to accumulation phases driven by actors who prefer to move when retail attention is lower. This week is loaded with events. On Tuesday, September 9th, the U.S. will release annual revisions of non-farm payroll data, and the SEC must respond to the Rex Osprey filing for a spot XRP ETF. Even if delayed, the existence of this filing is a milestone. On Wednesday, September 10th, Producer Price Index data arrives. On Thursday, September 11th, the Consumer Price Index will be published alongside the European Central Bank's rate decision. Europe has already cut rates, while the U.S. has not, creating divergence. Then, on September 17th, the Federal Reserve itself meets to decide on rates. Powell and the FOMC face a critical decision: hold steady or cut. The cost of money shapes everything from debt markets to digital assets. Now let's focus on the Federal Reserve review. Why now? Why request oversight of the central bank at this exact moment? One explanation is the migration of FedWire to ISO 20022, which occurred just weeks ago. ISO 20022 is not a trivial upgrade. It is the new financial messaging standard that enables richer data, interoperability, automation, and faster settlement. Pair this standard with a bridge asset like XRP, and suddenly trillions locked in Nostro and Vostro accounts can be freed. Instead of capital sitting idle to guarantee settlement, a digital bridge moves value instantly. That is an efficiency gain the system cannot ignore. Some speculate that this review signals deeper changes ahead. Could the Federal Reserve's role itself evolve or even be reduced in the coming years? While extreme scenarios like replacing the Fed entirely may be far off, the logic is simple. If payments, liquidity, and settlement go digital, the role of traditional intermediaries will diminish. Ripple's application for a U.S. banking license should be seen in this context. Ripple isn't trying to operate outside the system. It is positioning itself inside it as part of the next generation of financial infrastructure. Morgan Stanley has publicly stated that Ripple and XRP represent a leading alternative to SWIFT in corridors where liquidity is scarce. That is not retail hype. It is institutional language about efficiency. SWIFT moves messages. Ripple moves value. With ISO 20022 in place, the two can even complement each other, but the efficiency edge lies with blockchain. This is why major banks and institutions are watching. Look at Ripple's team. The company employs more than 130 people with backgrounds at JP Morgan, Citi, Merrill Lynch, BlackRock, Visa, PayPal, Apple, Google, Yahoo, Bloomberg, NASA, the Federal Reserve, DTCC, NSA, and the SEC. These are not random hires. They are the architects of the financial system, now working inside Ripple. This is why institutions are paying attention. Ripple is not just technology. It is credibility, regulation, and infrastructure combined. In the short term, traders should keep an eye on on-chain flows. Are whales moving XRP off exchanges into self-custody? That signals long-term confidence. Watch derivatives data for signs of excessive leverage, which could trigger short-term volatility. And pay attention to European ETPs and ETNs for XRP. If they trade at a premium, it signals institutional demand abroad while US regulation catches up. Do not be misled by political soundbites about parabolic growth or golden eras. What matters more are the structural signals. ISO 20022 adoption, independent reviews of central banks, new ETF filings, and banking licenses for blockchain firms. These are the foundations of a new system. Price will follow once infrastructure is in place. Zooming out, this independent review of the Federal Reserve could be the first step in modernizing U.S. monetary oversight. Ripple's banking license application positions it as a direct participant in this modernization. ISO 20022 provides the technical backbone, and XRP is the neutral bridge asset that transforms messages into liquidity. This is not speculation. It is the architecture of a system being quietly built. The next 2 weeks will be crucial. September 9th, 10th, 11th, and 17th mark turning points for both macroeconomic data and regulatory progress. If the Fed signals cuts, if the SEC advances ETF filings, and if Ripple continues to push for banking integration, the stage is set for XRP to move from speculation to utility at scale. The bottom line is this: when value can move faster, cheaper, and with less friction, it always will. When regulation provides clarity, institutions always follow. Ripple, ISO 20022, and the review of the Federal Reserve are not separate events. They're aligned signals pointing toward the same future. XRP as financial infrastructure. The market may seem quiet today, but the architecture of tomorrow is already under construction. And before closing today's video, I want to remind you that we're also on Instagram. Over there I post daily updates, quick news, and little curiosities from the XRP community that you might not always see here on YouTube. It's a great way to stay connected and to always be one step ahead with what's going on around Ripple and XRP. So if you haven't followed yet, I'd really recommend checking it out. Also, if you take a look at the links I've got in the bio, you'll find direct access to my book about XRP. You can grab it through Hotmart, or if you prefer, you can just search for it on Amazon and get it there. The book dives deeper into many of the things we talk about here, and it's a good resource if you want to keep learning and exploring more about this whole ecosystem. And for those of you who want to go even further and really be part of the inner circle, you can also become a channel member. By joining, you'll get early access to the videos I upload, so you'll be among the first to see the latest updates and analysis. Plus, you'll unlock some exclusive rewards designed only for members of the community. It's a simple way to support the channel, but also to make sure you're always ahead of the curve.